How's up, y'all? It's popping this D. About to react to this video by TUV. This is the dangerous world of Tinder criminals. This type of stuff is super interesting. Ever since I saw the Tinder swindler, I've been really into stuff like this because it is crazy how desperate people are for love and companionship. They will do anything. And these scammers get on these apps to scam y'all and get y'all to give them every dollar that you got, give your life savings, hand over your phones, your iPads, all that, and y'all be doing it. I promise you, it's better to be by yourself than to get scammed by these people on these apps. Don't do it. Anyway, we're gonna see what Tinder criminals is on here though. Let's watch.
In 2022, online dating apps have completely taken over and are actually one of the top ways couples meet each other. However, not everything goes as planned. Sadly, there have been many extreme cases when meeting people online, and Tinder will be our main focus today. In this video, we'll be talking about the dangerous world of Tinder criminals. If you guys want to see the other videos in this series, make sure to check out the playlist at the top right after this video. And please make sure to remain safe when meeting someone from the internet. I hope this video raises awareness. Anyway, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. If you guys watch my videos and you don't have a plate of food in front of you, that's mad disrespectful. If you're gonna watch one of my videos, you gotta be munching on something. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna talk about dangerous world of Tinder criminals. Nah, but for real, go get some food. You don't have to if you don't want to. You don't have to if you don't want to.
Nigga, I can't. I'm working.
Look at that. Yeah, my first Richard Millie. The day that this video is uploaded, we are doing a giveaway on the Earl Doesn't Exist Instagram page. It's at Earl Doesn't Exist, and all
y'all go.
There will be 3 hidden viewers that's gonna hate everything. Danielle Drayton.
Into the
in 2018, 27-year-old Danielle Drayton would use dating apps such as Tinder and Plenty of Fish in order to lure women into uncomfortable situations and R-word or murder them. Drayton, who lived in New Haven, Connecticut, murdered 29-year-old Samantha Stewart after they went back to her home on July 16th after meeting on Tinder. Samantha was a nurse and seemed to be a very happy and normal girl. Not many of the details of this case are public. I don't know why, but I'll tell you what I've read. Before the murder of Samantha, Drayton had already been committing crimes through the app, specifically charges of an attempted murder of a woman he shared an Uber ride with, and choking and R-wording another woman that he met on Tinder. Now back to Samantha. After killing her, Drayton allegedly had sex with her body, then wrapped her in a blanket in the bedroom and took off with her credit cards. He fleeted in a white van to the JFK airport, where he then used one of her credit cards and flew out to LA. Her family described how he physically left her, and I literally cannot even describe that on YouTube, but just know it is gruesome. Police found him in a North Hollywood hotel, and when they entered his room, he had another girl held hostage in that hotel room. He was sentenced to 25 years to life with no bail.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Being on Tinder is dangerous. Being on the internet alone is dangerous. Thankfully, we have a sponsor perfect for today's video.
You better get your money, nigga.
Click the Bailey Boswell and Aubrey Trail. All my sources will be linked down below. On November 15th, 2017, Sydney Loofe left work for a Tinder date in Wilbur, Nebraska. The day after, Sydney was reported missing after failing to appear at her job. Sydney Irene Loofe was born on August 21st, 1993 in Broken Bow, Nebraska. She loved playing basketball and golf while in school, but developed scoliosis as a teenager, causing her to step away from sports. After graduating from high school in 2011, she worked at her local Menards store. Her mother explained that Sydney suffered from anxiety and major depression. A few days before her disappearance, Sydney discussed her worsening mental health with her family, who scheduled and drove her to a doctor's appointment where she was given antidepressants. Sadly, that was the last time they saw her. Sydney agreed to go on a date with a person she met on Tinder, and that person's name was Audrey. But Audrey was just a fake alias used by a woman named Bailey Boswell. Sydney made sure to ask Boswell twice if anyone else was going to show up on the date, and Boswell lied and said, yeah, we'll be the only 2 people there. The date was held in a basement that Boswell and her husband, Aubrey Trail, were renting for about 6 months. Yes, they were renting a basement. The day after, Sydney went on another date with Boswell, and before heading to the date, she posted a Snapchat image captioned, "Ready for my date." On November 16th, which was the day after that, Sydney didn't show up to work. Her mother, Susie, texted her, unaware that she was on this date, but Sydney didn't respond. Susie then reported her missing, and the police ended up checking out her apartment to no avail. Meanwhile, the owner of the duplex that Boswell and Trail were renting out had complained about a horrible bleach odor, and it was all coming from that basement. The smell was so strong that a owner of the landlord's family was throwing up and developing hives. It was also strange for them to have the air conditioner going while it's the middle of November. Sydney told several friends about her Tinder date, and one of them was Brooklyn McChrystal. After Sydney's disappearance, Brooklyn McChrystal set out on a mission to find out why she went missing. She remembered Sydney talking about a name, and that name being Audrey. So she made a Tinder account and kept swiping left up until the point that she found a person named Audrey. She then swiped right on that person and was able to get Audrey's phone number, which she then provided to the police. Within 2 days, Saline County Police were able to pin down the Wilbur duplex as the last place where Loofe's phone pinged. Police conducted a welfare check, knocking on Boswell and Trail's apartment door, but no one answered. Using the landlord's key, the police entered the apartment, but the only thing that caught their attention was the unavoidable smell of bleach. The next day, the police came back with a search warrant, but again, nothing was really out of the ordinary besides the smell. Search teams led by the FBI and local police department eventually found Sydney's severed remains on December 4th and 5th. They found her dismembered body parts, sex toys, apparel, and other items were found wrapped inside many 30-gallon black trash bags alongside a gravel road, approximately 1 hour west of Wilbur. Part of Sydney's upper arm hasn't been found till this day. Bailey Boswell and Aubrey Trail were charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and improper disposal of human skeletal remains. Boswell is spending life in prison, and Trail was sentenced to death in 2021.
This is the only thing I have ever done that I feel real regret about. In the past, I could justify myself, but not this time. Sydney did nothing but reject my lifestyle and threaten to expose it, and I killed her for it. I could care less what you do to me here today.
A fate that the judge says is appropriate, considering Trail's disregard for human life.
Imposed by the panel on count 1, murder in the first degree, a class 1 felony. The defendant is sentenced to death.
After receiving and reviewing the evidence of the state and the defendant as the sole aggravating circumstance, as alleged by the state, that the murder manifested exceptional depravity by ordinary standards of morality and intelligence, I could not find beyond a reasonable doubt that the state of Nebraska met its burden of proof as to this aggravating circumstance.
Because the 3 judges did not rule unanimously, Boswell was sentenced to life in prison. Boswell showed little reaction to the sentencing, but her attorney remarked that it was an outcome they had hoped for.
In July 2019, 3 other women took the stand to allege that Boswell and Trail had desires to record victims as they torture and kill them before profiting thousands from the sales of these videos. I'm assuming they're talking about snuff films that can be found on the dark web. If you'd like to educate yourself more about the dark web,
I do not.
The stuff that goes on over there, I also have a series, a whole playlist dedicated to me browsing the internet's strangest websites. Anyway, even though these murderers did get what was coming to them, I guess one of them got life in prison, the other one just got sentenced to death, that still won't bring Sydney back. Let's head on over to the next one. Thomas R. This is an extremely odd case that took place on March 6, 2022. Mieke Oort was a 21-year-old woman from Massachusetts attending college in the Netherlands. While there, she met a man on Tinder by the name of Thomas R. They went on a couple dates, but the vibe completely changed when she told Thomas R that she was thinking about getting back together with her ex-boyfriend. This was too much for Thomas to handle, and he became extremely obsessive. He stalked her by harassing her through WhatsApp, driving up and down her street, and even placed a GPS tracker on her bike so he always knows where she's at. On March 6th at 3:36 in the morning, police got a call that there was a house fire going on. Thomas actually threw an incendiary device into the window of her apartment, forcing the residents to evacuate. He then walked inside the building and stabbed Mieke to death. After that, Thomas R. quickly headed to Germany in his car. While on the run, he contacted his parents and told them everything that just happened, and then his parents contacted the local police, and they caught him at the German border. He was arrested at 5 in the morning on the same day. I was very confused as to why in every article I read, this guy was referred to as Thomas R. Like, where's the last name? Is it just R? But honestly, I don't know. Every single article calls him Thomas R. Anyway, if there's one thing Mieke's father wants students to know, it's this.
When we send our kids to college, we think that they're mature adults.
Mieke's father, Michael, tells us his family has lost their light, saying his daughter had a golden heart. While speaking at Sunday's vigil, Michael encouraged people to learn from his daughter's death, saying students need to speak up if something's off, alert a friend, take action, saying if his daughter had known the signs, this could have been different.
I think that if that were in place, then this tragedy may have been avoidable.
Mieke's family held a memorial service in the Netherlands for her. They plan on putting one together here. The investigation into the circumstances of her death
Lauren Smith Fields. On Saturday, December 11th, 2021, 23-year-old Lauren met up with a man she met on Bumble. That man being 37-year-old Michael LaFountain. They hung out at her apartment, drank some tequila, ate food, played games, and watched a movie. You know, the normal things adults do on a date. LaFountain recalls Lauren throwing up and feeling ill, then eventually them both falling asleep on her bed together. Then at 6 a.m., the police get a frantic call from Michael stating Lauren is unresponsive as he's giving her chest compressions. She was pronounced dead at the scene. The controversy begins with how the Bridgeport, Connecticut police handled everything. First off, they didn't notify the family when she was pronounced dead.
The whole day goes by, no police reach out to the family at all.
Her close-knit family says they went to the apartment the next day after frantically calling and texting Lauren and were referred to a Detective Cronin.
They didn't even contact us, they didn't let us know anything. It's like crazy. And I'm asking what's going on. He said she met some guy on Bumble, and I'm asking about the guy. He was like, oh, he sounds like a really nice guy. He sounds like a really good guy. And he was like, I'll call you back, and just hung up in my face.
Instead, the mother had to find out by going to the apartment and then reading a letter on the door that said, if you're looking for Lauren, call this number. That number was the landlord's number, and after dialing, he then came over and gave her the phone number of the lead detective, Kevin Cronin. Though the controversy doesn't end there. Lauren's brother called, and upon calling the detective, was told that Lauren, quote, met a white guy on Bumble, but don't worry about that. He's a really nice guy. The family waited for Detective Cronin after calling several times,
How the
then
fuck
took
y'all
matters
know?
into their own hands and found evidence of their own. In her apartment, they found bottles of alcohol, a blood-stained sheet, an overturned plate of food, a sedative pill, and a used condom.
The family says they provided evidence they'd collected to crime scene investigators who arrived for the first time that day, included a bloody sheet and a pill.
And 2 cups of like drinks or whatever next to a bottle. They didn't take none of that. We seen a condom, we seen lube, other stuff in there, and they didn't take none of this.
Due to the lack of professional help from the station, people online were demanding something be done about this. Was this due to Lauren being a black woman and the last person seeing her life being a white man? We'll never know. But what we do know is that this case was handled horribly. Because of the increased attention to Lauren's case on social media, the Connecticut Office of Chief Medical Examiner released her cause of death: acute intoxication due to the combined effects of fentanyl, promethazine, hydroxyzine, and alcohol. Her death was ruled an accident. As for Michael LaFountain, his attorney said he wasn't a person of interest anymore.
Anyone that genuinely cared and they were there, the last person there, and they know that nothing bad happened, you would at least even reach out to the family yourself. Like, listen, I know I'm sorry for your loss of your daughter or your sister.
Checking out the family's GoFundMe page, it seems like the last update was in February of this year, stating that the 2 lead detectives that were on this case were put on administrative leave and one was resigned. Which, by the way, the one that wasn't fired was quietly brought back a few months later. The case is still ongoing, and it seems that publicly, Michael LaFountain hasn't faced any type of repercussion.
That's
Jessie
fucking crazy.
Kempson, 22-year-old Grace Millane, was reported missing in 2018. Originally from Britain, she traveled to Auckland, New Zealand on her own. Her father quickly traveled to New Zealand after she didn't pick up her phone and tried his best to get people to find his missing daughter.
I would like to take this opportunity to appeal to anybody who has seen, spoken to, or come into contact with Grace over the last few days, and to come forward with any detail, no matter how small, and contact the investigation team. Once again, I thank you all for coming.
Investigators looked through cameras and found her hanging out with a man that she had met on Tinder. They hung out in Sky City, which is like a plaza where you can also get drinks. Then they headed to a Mexican cafe. They drank some more. Then they headed to yet another bar, and Grace actually texted a friend from back in England and said that she clicked really well with this guy. They then headed to this man's hotel room. What happened that night? I think you guys can guess, but he sadly murdered Grace by strangulation. The police found out Jessie Kempson had strangled Millane to death, crammed her into a suitcase, and then taken her body to a wooded area. When interviewed by authorities, Kempson explained that she just wanted to be choked, and they were both into that.
She started talking to me about 50 Shades of Grey, which is a sex fantasy movie that's out. We started having sex. At first it was just normal. It was very placid. And then she asked me if we could get into bondage.
But he went to sleep in the shower. Yeah, he went to sleep in the shower and woke up to her dead on the bed.
And then all I remember is falling asleep in the shower. I need to stop. I need to go.
You go to jail, bitch.
Would you like some fresh air?
Yeah, please. I was in shock. and I didn't know what to do.
Pathologist, a specialist doctor, will perform a post-mortem. They're very skilled at establishing people's causes of death. Do you understand that? Did you kill Grace Millane? Okay. You're under arrest for the murder of Grace Millane on or about the 2nd of December. You understand? Okay.
Yep, pretty believable story. Pretty believable story. Jesse pleaded not guilty and maintained his innocence throughout the entire trial, but the judge decided otherwise and sentenced him to life in prison. It was also revealed that he's other women that he met on the app as well. Before I end this one off, I just want to say rest in peace to all the victims I've talked about, and if there are any GoFundMes for these victims, I will be linking all of them in the description below.
Damn. I thought this video was gonna be about niggas scamming people, like, you know, like I said, like the Tinder swindler, but I know people's gonna be dying in this compilation. This was dark, but very eye-opening. Y'all be careful out there. Please be careful in meeting anybody on the app, because there are a lot of weirdos out there. And of course, you can meet weirdos out and about, but they lurk heavy on these apps. So be very careful. This was very sad. Y'all let me know what y'all thought. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!